Radio merchandise is finally here. Go to soundchatradio.com right now so you can purchase your t-shirts and sweatshirts for children and adults in different color and sizes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, and leave your comments. And also make sure you press that notification bell so you can be the first to see Wagwan when it drops.
So welcome to my YouTube series, What Killed Soundclash? Shouts to those of you that have been leaving your comments for past episodes. Of course, this is episode 5. And I know a lot of you have been waiting for me to do another episode. And I kind of, purposely, didn't do episode 5 yet because I wanted a lot of you to kind of absorb what we were saying in 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right? And big up to everybody who left their comments. Those of you who have not subscribed to the Irish and Chin YouTube channel yet, please do so. Subscribe, like the page, press the notification button so you can be the first to get it when it drops, right? That's what it's all about, some great conversation in the name of Soundclash. That is what this series is all about. Now, I do see a lot of people making comments as I expected. Chin, you're the one that killed Soundclash culture and blah, 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 blah. And the only thing that I can say to those people is make it make sense. Not fighting anyone for their opinions, of course. That's what the platform is for you to leave your comments and for us to vibe on your opinions, right? But make it make sense, because if it doesn't make sense, then you just sound real stupid, right? So it's not only good enough to, have an opinion, but have some factual thing that backs up your opinion, right? Once again, big up to everybody who is subscribed to the channel. Shouts to those of you that leave your messages. And make sure, leave the messages below. That's really important, right? So, episode number 5. What killed Soundclash? Self-promotion. Or lack of, I should say. Lack of self-promotion. So that's what I want to talk about in episode 5, right? Lack of promotion or self-promotion has helped to kill Soundclash culture. What am I talking about? So back in the earlier days, in the 90s, right, when I was growing up in Soundclash culture and all of my peers were building sound systems or representing sound systems or selectors of popular sound systems, one thing that was common amongst all sound teams, right, is that the sound system was also keeping events. The sound system also had events, whether it was parties, monthly parties, bi-monthly parties, weekly events, whatever it was, right? I grew up in New York. So if it was New York, especially in the Brooklyn space, Queens was happening too, Bronx was happening as well. A lot of the sound systems would promote weekly parties where people came out and listened to them juggle and got more familiar with their dub selection, because of course back in that time, sound systems were able to juggle a couple of dubs in the parties and people still had a vibe and they appreciated that, right? But sound systems were playing and they weren't waiting for promoters to book them. A lot of them were creating their own scenes. Most of them, they were creating their own scenes, and people were coming out to just, be entertained by them, and they got a fan base out of it. They walked away with a fan base out of it, so people got to hear them play weekly or monthly or whatever, and in that whole situation of going out to hear the sound play, you kind of became a fan, or people became fans. The sound system adopted fans over a period of time, right? It was called self-promotion when you look back at it. That's what it was. It was self-promotion. Leading sound systems, upcoming sound systems always had a gig that wasn't a booking, but it was their own gig. Their brethren kept a dance, and they were the sound system that was assigned to that particular dance all the time. It kept whatever it was. But teams of sound systems, or members of sound system teams, kept events, and the sound system constantly became synonymous with those events, and they built a following. So we move on to what's been happening in the last decade or even more, where there's tons of sound systems that has never, ever in their life kept the party for themselves. Never in their life has kept an event for themselves. Their job has solely been to voice dub plates and sit and wait for a promoter to book them for a dance because they got dubs, right? And it hasn't happened. And because it hasn't happened, you have had all of these sound systems that are kind of like dead in the water before they even started to sail, right? Before they even started to sail, dead in the water. If you can find money to buy dub plates, many, many dub plates, then you should also be able to find money to invest in the sound system that you're trying to, make dub plate heavy. Does that make sense? So let's say that I'm spending $50,000 in dub, and this would be, of course, an understatement for most sound systems. But let's say that I'm starting a sound system, and we're gonna call that sound system a business, just for it to make a little bit more sense. And this business is costing me $50,000 on the fly, right? I'm gonna invest 50 in the business, right? So, and it would be equivalent to investing 50,000 in dub plates, right? Do you only invest in the business and don't promote the business at all? So there's no flyers for the business? There's nothing, no commercials, nothing for the business? You're just expecting customers to walk through or walk by and come in? Now, that may work for some. As it may work for some businesses, maybe you got a busy corner, by a train station where people are constantly walking back and forth through, and your storefront looks so nice, and whatever you have in the window looks so glistening that people are, coming in to be nosy. It can happen. But not every store is going to be open on prime location, right? Some stores are going to be on the corner blocks or on the side blocks, right? And they have good things to offer, but in order for them to get the customers in, they got to do some type of promotion. So either they got to hang, posters or radio commercials or flyers or whatever it is, but they need people to come check out their merchandise. Well, we should be thinking about sound system culture the same way, or many of you should have, right? So you're spending $50,000, understatement, to create dub plates, right? To represent your sound system. But out of that whole investment, you have never pinched off any money to promote events that will directly and indirectly promote the brand of the sound system. I think that's stupid. The events and the self-promotion is needed because without self-promotion, many of you are doing the arena more harm than good. And I don't even think you're doing any good. It's all harm. Because what you're doing is you're coming to the arena to show up for the fight with no fan base. So you're pulling no one to the arena to see you compete. That does not make sense. Every sound system that competes in the arena should have somewhat of a fan base in order to keep the arena moving. And let me explain to you guys how that usually works, right? So sound system A comes with their fans. Sound system B comes with their fans. The clash happens, right? And both of those fans, those group of fans, watch the event. Oftentimes, sound system A's fans are exposed to sound system B's fans and vice versa. And then both of those fans go away with an understanding that the other sound system is also good. And in most cases, even though sound system A will continue to be your favorite sound, you're now willing to go to an event that sound system B is performing in. And vice versa. But if you bring 0 fans to the event, then one, there's zero chances or very little chances of you becoming a champion sound, right? Because you're showing up at the arena expecting the promoter to have a fan base there waiting for you, or you're expecting the sound system that you're clashing with to bring their fan base. And then you're just okay with performing in front of the other sound's fan base, hoping that you can convince the other sound's fan base that you're more worthy of their vote than, their original sound is. It doesn't make sense. So over the years, we've seen this process of sound systems, lazy sound systems, and lazy sound systems owners and selectors bringing in, this new wave of not promoting themselves and only preparing for the big fight, the fight that never comes. Because let's be honest, some of you will never get a booking, never. You will only be collecting dubs for all your career, and you will never be booked. One of these, of course, is because you're not good. But another major factor is because nobody knows what you have to offer. You have a business place and there's no sign outside. No one knows what's in your store, so they walking past. And you can actually correct this, or could have corrected this, by keeping your own events. Can you imagine how vibrant the arena would be if every sound system that came to compete in the arena was already nurturing their fans, in the regular dance hall arena? Because let's be honest, the Sound Clash Arena is a room in the dance hall arena. It's a private room. Not everybody who loves Sound Clash loves dancehall, but Sound Clash is a part of dancehall. You guys understand that? So some people will come into the dancehall space but never go into the Sound Clash room. It's the job of the Sound Clash sounds to also be active in the dancehall space, because that's where the majority of the people dwell. And then when you become active and popular in the dancehall space, you usher those patrons into the Sound Clash space. And this is not only how you gain fans, but this is how the sport gains fans. All of the fans of Sound Clash come from the dance hall. That's how it is. Nobody's just a Sound Clash fan without being a dancehall fan. I've never seen that. I've never heard of it. But you can be a dancehall fan without being a Sound Clash fan. So once again, we're looking at a situation where sound systems are lazy. They're penny wise and pound foolish, right? Penny wise, they're stocking their dubs, right? They're spending all this money preparing for the war. Pound foolish, they're not promoting the fact that they have this artillery to regular dancehall lovers and patrons in order for these dancehall lovers and patrons to say, hey, I like this sound. They are talented. They have a lot of artillery. I like how the MC does his thing. I like how the mixer mixes. I'm going to follow them into the Sound Clash room and watch their next competition.
Yo, what's good? You ain't get that Sound Chat merch yet? What you waiting on? You bugging. Go to soundchatradio.com right now and get that merch. Get yourself right.
If that's not happening, then we're failing. Every sound system, believe it or not, is responsible, undoubtedly responsible, to bring their own patrons/fans to Sound Clash. And because we're not doing that, we have seen where the industry has been dependent on the merit of the event or the merit of the promoter. So the promoter is doing, more of a job than what the promoter is supposed to do. The promoter's job is to put the event together. The promoter's job is to promote the event to best of the ability, right? But some of your job is to share that burden of attraction with the promoter, meaning that the promoter probably, has its own fan base, or supposed to get the word out there that, sound A is clashing with sound B, but sound A and B is also supposed to bring their own fan base to the fight. Why are you charging the promoter the money that you're charging the promoter if you have no fans? That's a question within itself. Why are you charging the promoter whatever price that you feel that you deserve to charge the promoter if you cannot guarantee fans inside the arena? It just doesn't make any sense. 718-554-8598. If you guys want to argue with me about this on a Thursday night, you can do so. I welcome the arguments because for the most part, those of you, I don't think that you understand, and you fail to understand what it takes to keep the arena going. It needs fans. If you were a sound system right now, and just, stop everything what you're doing, and those of you may be cussing me and chin this and chin that, but chin is also speaking facts. So if you were a sound system right now, what you need to do is stop and say to yourself, I spent X amount of money on dubs. You can estimate it. Then take the ratio of how much investment have you made in advertisement for your sound system. If you have never kept an event in the name of your sound system, then you're an asshole. You're wasting your time. And if you come to me or any other promoter and you have no fans, then why should we be willing to pay you big money for introducing you to our fans? Because if you go to a promoter and you have no fans, that means you're depending on the promoter to attract the fans to watch you perform. And you may walk away with fans that the promoter provided that you didn't provide, but you're also charging the promoter for the fans in which the promoter provided. Do you see how crazy that is? It's like the stupidest thing. It's ridiculous when you think about it. How do you continue to not promote yourself, no self-promotion, but somehow demand that you have a certain value? So again, I didn't want to make this episode too heavy, but I definitely wanted to point this out. Lack of self-promotion/promotion has also helped to hurt the new sound systems that have inherited the Sound Clash arena heavily. If you are a sound system and you cannot count on numerous fingers, if not numerous hands, how many efforts you have made to keep an actual event, then that actually means that you have not been promoting yourself accurately. I'm not talking about, the pasa that you get involved in on the internet in the name of your sound, because some of you have logos. A lot of you have logos, and, you got a IG page and a Facebook page, and, you're doing your writing and you're interacting, but that's not promoting yourself the right way. That's not helping you with fans. So when it's time for you to compete, those IG, let me also say this before I go. Don't get fooled by IG and Facebook and all the other social media handles, right? Don't look at that and say that you have fans, because geographically, the people that you interact with on these mediums are all over the world. So when it's time for you to keep your party, guess what? They're not coming because they live in another place in the world, right? So let's be smart about this. Fans are the people who actually show up to your events. Fans are the ones that not only wait for the audio, as some of you do in the new age, but they actually show up to be part of your victory or your failure, because failure is in it, and it's good. Failure makes you stronger. So as a sound system, you shouldn't be, scared to lose a clash, because it's all about losing today and winning back tomorrow and learning from your mistakes, but that's a whole nother episode. So let me close out by saying this. Once again, sit in the dummy corner and say to yourself, how many times have I actually invested in an actual event that introduced my sound to the people in my area or even other areas? Because you could live in New York and keep a dance in Philadelphia. You can have a family member that lives in Atlanta, and you tell that person, hey, put me on a party. You know what I mean? Put me on a dance. Or let me and you keep a dance, whatever the situation is, right? But if you're not active in the dance hall arena, right, then how can you be a hit in the Sound Clash arena? It doesn't make sense. And if you're waiting on a promoter to book you, then you're stupid and you don't need to be in the business. You're doing business backwards. You're hustling backwards. Leave your comments below. If you agree with me, that's good. If you don't agree with me, tell me why you don't agree with me. But at the end of the day, back in the days, how I learned it and how I knew it was that you worked hard not only to beef up your dub box, to straighten up your dub box, but you also worked equally as hard to gather fans. And you did this by not waiting for promoters to book you, but keeping your own parties. Back in the days, we used to keep parties in abandoned places if we had to. We used to keep them in storefronts, stores where people would move out their fridges and their chips and their snacks and everything, and they would rent it to us to make an extra income for the night. That's what we did. You know what I mean? You would find some clubs or some ballrooms or whatever, any place that somebody you felt could hold a couple of hundred people as a young youth, you would go to. And you would, try to get that person to give you the place, and you rent the place, and you set up shop, and you invite the other sound systems, and either you guys clashed or you juggled, but it was all in an effort to get fans. You know what I mean? Most of us back in the 90s, we started our sound systems while we were still in high school. So we would tell our friends that, yo, this is where we're going to be this weekend. Come out and support. Come out and rock out. Oh, we're clashing this person, so come support. And the person that we're clashing was doing the same thing. So by the time you looked in the dance, it was a bunch of, high school kids in the dance ready to pick who was the real sound killer out of the clash. We brought something to the table because we did the self-promotion. Some of you are not doing the self-promotion, but you feel like you still need a seat at the table. Why? Every elite selector in our business, every elite sound system in our business, every single one of them, every one of them had a fan base. They didn't just do it like that. They had a fan base. If they didn't invest in the fan base, then the owner of the sound system invested in the fan base, but the fan base was always there. Make sure you guys leave your comments. Once again, like my page. Make sure you keep it locked to Irish and Chin's YouTube channel. This is episode 5. Again, lack of self-promotion or lack of promotion is what hurt the Sound Clash Arena. It helped to kill the sport. Of course, these are my opinions. If you haven't watched episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5, please do so.
Thank you for watching another episode of Sound Chat Radio on Irish and Chin's YouTube channel. If you like what you saw, please subscribe by hitting the red button. If the button is still red, that means you did not subscribe. Also, like and share. And don't forget to leave a comment. In fact, press that notification button while you're at it.